Girl saves a crying bear cub. What the mama bear does next leaves everyone shocked. In a touching display of courage and compassion, a young girl rescued a crying bear cub deep within the forest. Her selfless act set off a chain of unexpected events when the mama bear approached the scene. Instead of anger or aggression, her reaction stunned everyone watching. This remarkable story highlights the surprising bonds that can form between humans and wildlife. Laura, a spirited young girl, lived with her parents in a charming village nestled beneath towering mountains. From her earliest days, the majestic peaks became her second sanctuary, a place she felt deeply connected to. Her father served diligently as a rescuer in the local rescue team, while her mother worked as a doctor at the village's sole hospital. From a young age, Laura's parents instilled in her a profound respect for nature and a strong commitment to helping those in need. From an early age, Laura developed a passion for hiking in the mountains and eagerly joined a climbing class. Her natural talent was swiftly recognized by her coach within the first month of training. Just a year later, she was competing in regional competitions, consistently showcasing her skills. By the time she graduated from school, Laura had accumulated an impressive collection of medals and certificates, proudly displayed on an entire shelf. By the age of 22, Laura had established herself as a seasoned climber, intimately familiar with every trail in the nearby mountains. She could effortlessly identify all the perilous spots and navigate the safest routes from memory. Locals frequently sought her guidance before embarking on challenging hikes. Inspired by her father, Laura decided to pursue a career as a rescuer. For several months, she diligently prepared for the rescue school entrance exams, following a rigorous daily training regimen to ensure she was fully ready for the demands of the role. She studied medical and rescue books. The day before leaving for her training was unusually warm. The sun shone brightly in the clear sky. A light breeze carried the smell of mountain herbs. Laura decided to take one last hike before leaving. She carefully prepared her gear the night before. She checked every carabiner and knot on the ropes. Laura packed her backpack with water, food, a first aid kit, a signal flashlight, and a fully charged phone. At dawn, she set off as the first sunlight kissed the mountain peaks, breathing in the fresh air while birds sang overhead. Choosing her favorite eastern route, she began near an old, curved pine tree. The first hour took her through dense forest before the path climbed to rocky outcrops. Maintaining a steady pace, Laura savored each moment of the challenging yet captivating hike, frequently stopping to photograph the vibrant morning flowers. During a quiet rest stop, she enjoyed a steaming thermos of tea as a light breeze rustled the treetops. After 2 hours, the forest began to thin, marking the progress of her memorable climb. The alpine meadow zone started. The grass here was low and tough. Bright mountain flowers grew between the rocks, and the air became noticeably cooler. Laura climbed up to a small plateau where a breathtaking view of the valley opened up. She took out her camera to take some pictures of her parents. At that moment, she heard a strange sound similar to a baby's cry. Laura heard a distressing sound from below and cautiously approached the plateau's edge. She saw a small brown bear cub, about 15 meters down, with its back paw trapped among the rocks. The trembling cub's attempts to free itself only heightened its fear and pain. Above, the mother bear paced anxiously, trying to reach her baby but causing rocks to crumble and landslides with each failed attempt. Recognizing the critical situation, Laura quickly assessed how she could help. The slope was too steep for the bear. Without help, the cub couldn't free itself. Its paw was badly stuck. Eventually, the cub would either die from hunger and thirst or fall into the abyss. Laura took out her phone and sent a message to her parents, giving them the exact coordinates of her location. She also wrote that she planned to help the trapped animal and promised to contact them in an hour. Laura prepared for the perilous descent by securing her climbing rope, removing her jacket, and lightening her backpack. The nearly vertical cliff offered few handholds, some slick with dew, making each step potentially fatal. She descended slowly and carefully, her sweat stinging her eyes and her hands trembling from the effort. As she climbed, the mother bear growled aggressively, knocking rocks and branches to protect her cub. Laura had to dodge the falling debris, turning the half-hour climb into an agonizing ordeal. Finally, Laura reached the level of the cub. Now, she had to move horizontally along the very narrow ledge. Laura slowly shifted her weight from foot to foot, trying not to look down at the deadly sharp rocks below. The bear cub noticed the approaching human. It tried to crawl away, but its trapped paw wouldn't let it. Laura heard the cub's cries grow louder and responded by speaking calmly, gradually approaching the frightened animal to earn its trust. As the cub's fear lessened, she discovered its paw was trapped between two large rocks, fortunately with only minor scrapes. Retrieving a rope from her pocket, Laura carefully extended her hand, and to her surprise, the cub allowed her to tie it up, pressing against her in a gesture of trust. This incredible moment showcased the bond forming between her and the wild animal. Now came the most difficult part, freeing the paw. Laura carefully began to rock one of the stones. She tried to work as gently as possible so as not to hurt the cub. It was a slow and painstaking job. Every movement could send the cub into another panic. Laura often stopped, giving it time to calm down. She stroked its head and spoke kind words. After 15 minutes, the stone shifted, freeing the cub's paw, which had only minor scratches and bruises. Realizing they couldn't safely climb back, Laura prepared to lower the cub with her rope. She carefully secured the knots and led the cub to the ledge's edge, but it became frightened and resisted. Laura paused, soothing the animal until it trusted her again, allowing her to continue the delicate descent and safely bring the cub to the ground. Lowering the cub was very tense. Laura slowly let the rope out. Her hands were shaking from the strain, and sweat was running into her eyes. When the cub touched the ground, it didn't immediately realize what had happened for a few seconds. It just stood still. Then it began to jump with joy. Now it was free and unharmed. Laura untied the rope. It was time for her to descend, but she was very exhausted. Her arms and legs were trembling from fatigue, but she had to act quickly while she still had some strength left. The descent took another 20 minutes. Every move was difficult. Several times, she nearly fell. Finally, her feet touched the ground. Laura lay helpless on the grass as the playful cub approached, nudging her like a puppy. Suddenly, a bear emerged from the bushes, inching closer. Frozen with fear, Laura could only lie still while the cub continued to play nearby. To her relief, the bear showed no aggression. It cautiously sniffed the cub and, satisfied it wasn't hurt, allowed it to stay by Laura. The large bear then vanished into the thicket but returned shortly with Laura's fallen backpack in its teeth, easing her worry. The bear gently placed it next to her and stepped back a few paces. Laura struggled to sit up. She took a bottle of water from her backpack and drank it greedily. The bear and cub stayed nearby. It seemed as if they were guarding the person who had just saved a precious life. Time passed, but the animals didn't leave. The cub continued playing beside Laura. The bear lay calmly nearby. This amazing scene felt unreal. Voices were heard in the distance. Laura's parents were hurrying to check if she was all right. The bear stood up. It approached Laura and lightly touched her leg with its paw. There was no aggression in the gesture. It seemed like the bear was saying goodbye and thanking her for the help. The cub ran up to Laura one last time. It pressed its warm nose against her shoulder. Then the bear growled softly, calling its cub. They slowly walked into the forest and disappeared among the trees. A few minutes later, Laura's parents arrived. They saw their daughter sitting on the grass. Surrounded by large bear tracks, their faces showed both worry and relief. Her father was the first to approach her. He immediately noticed the rope marks on her hands and her rumpled clothes. Her mother pulled out water and a dry shirt from her bag. Laura briefly told them what had happened. Laura then pointed to the exact spot on the cliff where the cub had been trapped. Her parents listened in stunned silence, gradually comprehending the ordeal their daughter had endured. Without hesitation, her father began climbing the gentle slope, determined to recover what Laura had left behind on the platform. Carefully, he gathered her belongings, finding her jacket and camera among the remnants, each item a testament to her brave rescue. Everything remained intact as Laura's mother carefully examined her hands, revealing blisters and small cuts from the sharp rocks on her palms. She promptly tended to her daughter's wounds with the first aid kit. When Laura attempted to stand, her legs gave way from sheer exhaustion. Her parents gently supported her, helping her rise to her feet by holding her from both sides. As they began their descent to the village, Laura felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The next morning, she set off for her training, carrying not only her backpack, but also the cherished memories of her incredible encounter with the bear family and the profound gratitude of the animals. During the toughest training sessions, she often recalled that day. The memory of saving the bear cub always fueled her strength and determination. Laura knew without a doubt that she had chosen the right path in life. What an incredible story! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below. See you in the next video.